In this episode of Travelogue, we'll show you a slice of China that modernity seems to have missed. We venture deeper into Dali's countryside to explore the 1,000-year-old village of Nuodeng. We'll climb ancient stairways, savor a salted ham specialty, and meet some unforgettable characters.
Good morning from Yunnan County. We've just arrived and our next destination is just over there in these hills. It's the ancient settlement of Nuodeng. This ancient Bai settlement, one of the most well-preserved in all of Yunnan. It's known as the 1,000-year-old settlement and used to be a very important stop on the salt route. But those days as a busy centre are long gone, but still, it's a spectacular sight and I can't wait for our stay there. Hi, I'm Katrina Yu and welcome to Travelogue.
Nuodeng is nestled deep in the mountains, and it's this isolation that has helped to preserve its customary way of life. It's almost completely free from modern architecture, so much so that it's often described as the village that time forgot. As we arrive, we hear that Mr. Huang, the manager of our guest house, is already waiting, and he's not alone.
This is one of the mules that is going to help us take up our stuff.
I hope he's strong. Hello. We rang ahead to give them time to prep the mules.
Those are really heavy pieces of luggage. It's going to be okay.
Mr. Huang operates one of the few guest houses in Nuodeng, but more are opening up all the time. His establishment is located in a prime spot at the top end of the village, where we're promised a great view of the landscape below. But first, we have to work for it.
Yes, we made it. This is the place where we'll be staying while we're in Nuodeng.
This guest house has around 10 rooms for rent, where guests can also enjoy Mrs. Huang's traditional Dali cooking. It's quaint and pretty rustic. There are only 2 toilets and 1 bathroom, which is shared by everyone. Thankfully, there are some modern conveniences, including wireless internet.
Well, this is it. Go over there. Little hole. This is our home for the next 4 days. You know, you too can book a room like this for about 150 kwai a night. It is simple, but, you know, for me, I think it's comfortable enough.
The 2 courtyards are perfect for catching your breath, chatting, or just soaking in the Yunnan sunshine. When we arrive, it's almost winter, but it definitely doesn't feel like it. The province has a moderate climate thanks to its position on China's plateau.
So we just settled into the guest house of Mr. Huang and we're relaxing a little after that. Long climb, what seems like an endless climb up this mountain. We're enjoying some tea, having some grapes, and preparing to explore the rest of Nuodeng.
Our first visit is to the village's natural salt wells. In ancient times, this crucial and expensive resource was used not only for flavouring food, but also for preserving it. This is still seen in dishes around the world today, from the Italian salami to Korean salted fish. Since long ago, people came from all over the region to buy Nuodeng salt. This so-called white gold was carried as far as India. Nuodeng remained a prosperous and busy trade centre until the nationalisation of the salt industry in the 1940s. Today, Nuodeng is better known for another product. The abundance of salt led to the development of a very special type of cured ham. It can be eaten by itself, but is also used to make up to 30 different dishes. These are just some examples of how the special ham can be prepared and served. Here we've got a really curious
delicious looking soup, which is bits of the ham as well as some egg. And this is the ham itself in all its glory. Now this has been aged for 3 years. Only pieces of meat that have been aged for 3 years can be eaten raw. You know, I thought that ham was a very limited thing. It could only be served in one way, but with these 4 dishes, I think I've been proven wrong. I think we're going to dig into the rest of it, you know, for research purposes.
With bellies full and smiles on our faces, Mr. Huang takes us to see the old Confucius and Tao temple, perched high above the village. I'm really looking forward to seeing it, excited not only about what we'll find there, but who.
我们文庙背后还有个圣母庙，我说你们的小菜开到8分去。
Mr. Li is one of the guards, and according to Mr. Huang, he knows everything there is to know about this temple. His passion for its history is said to be unrivaled, and he's also very proud of his Bai heritage, which he speaks about with equal enthusiasm.
这位就是我们这里守庙的老人家。
你好，你是白子吗？
我就是罗登呢，我就是北头了。是吧？我们北头人就性格是不然，我们北头人就好开胃。
So Mr. Li has been telling us a little bit about this temple, which is a Taoist temple. Over there, there's a statue of Confucius, and what makes this temple a little different is that Confucius is actually dressed like a common person, whereas around the country with a lot of the Confucius temples, Confucius is dressed quite elaborately in imperial wear. So I suppose that really reflects the type of people that have always lived in this village.
很好。
Mr. Li is quite a character, but his heavy local accent and my very, very basic Mandarin make for some confusing moments.
把很多的外国人来这个地方吗？
外国人来那个多。
有来自全世界遍及全中国，有德语、法语、英语、俄罗斯语。
Luckily, I have some help, so we make the most of a difficult situation with patience and good humor.
你在挪动，你上吗？
我听不懂。
啥话？不啥话。
为本地文化做点好事而已啦，发挥德语的，是吧？
你有你在挪动有家人吗？
有呢嘛。这个我听得懂的。然后。
把你们18本书借给他们看看。
留言簿啊。
到我们这份。
他说要请你去看。
等下你也给我留个言的。啊。
好。
拿出来留个纪念。啊，怎么？
都可以把它拿出来。
哎，不，我们到这份。
Mr. Li is going to show us these 18 books that he's very proud of. It's filled with notes from visitors, so he's quite keen to show us. So let's go see.
来，我们的疾控的造访，是吧？
Or not. Mr. Li and I obviously need to work on our timing as well as our communication.
Li 先生
Mr. Lee, rolling. Okay, you rolling.
李先生先走了。好 let's go check them out.
他就活到老，学到老，学不了。
So these are all sorts of notes that people have left, and here's one in English. What a magical experience. The temple has been, all to the sound of the gentle flute. So obviously when they came, there must have been some music. A beautiful man played and offered tea. So these visitors are from Sydney, where I'm from. So I'm not the first Sydney-sider to get here. Damn.
I do eventually get to hear Mr. Li's flute, and it's lovely. Not just listening to the music, but watching him play it. It makes me realize that this temple seemingly empty and falling apart, is still very much full of life and still giving life to the people of this village. I also learned how much it means to the Bai people. Their culture puts such a strong emphasis on knowledge and history, and I think that's perfectly reflected in Mr. Lee.
You know, when I was told that we were coming to an old Confucius temple and that we were going to meet a 70-year-old man who was going to give us a tour, I expected something quite straightforward, quite a formal historical background of this place. But meeting Mr. Lee was anything but formal or straightforward. He's such an impressive character. At 70 years old, he travels all the way from his home to the temple, which is 2 hours away, tells people all about it. Then he goes back home for dinner, then comes back again to make sure everything is okay for the evening. It's just wonderful to see the passion that people like him have for places like this, and I suppose that's what keeps them so authentic and keeps them so alluring for visitors. And it also goes to show, I think, that places are really made by the people.